What's going on, everybody? My name is Danny Gutierrez. I want to thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Total Fight Mike. No, it's been a little bit since we've been back here, but with the Thanksgiving holiday and everything rolling over, it was a little bit difficult to find time to make a video, but got a haircut. Actually got them all cut. Had to slip that dad joke in there, but I'm feeling fresh, feeling good. We got the haircut down now that Thanksgiving is over with. A week after Thanksgiving, the ESPN is going to have Alistair Overeem take on Jairzinho Rozenstruik in the UFC's heavyweight division. And that card, you also have guys like Tim Means and Thiago Alves fighting. You also have guys like Matt Wyman, longtime UFC vet, coming back after his fight with Violent Bob Ross. But I actually wanted to talk about the main event, as always, going into the fight with Rozenstruik and Overeem. Now, Rozenstruik is an undefeated heavyweight. He's 9-0. And in his last two bouts, they relatively went pretty quick. He went one full round with his first opponent and then got a 50-second knockout in the second round. In his second bout, which was the bout before this one, he took on a gentleman by the name of Alan Crowder and knocked him out within 9 seconds of the first round. So it was a pretty fast knockout. Everybody knows who Alistair Overeem is. He's a highly decorated Dutch kickboxer, mixed martial artist. He's fought in Pride. He was a Strikeforce heavyweight champion. He was the Dream heavyweight champion. He was the K1 Grand Prix heavyweight champion. He's fought for that UFC title only one other time, and he got bested by Stipe Miocic, although he did drop him in the first round, and that he did get ended in the first round at the way end of the round, but he actually did drop Stipe and had him in some trouble and was fishing for a guillotine. When it comes to Alistair Overeem's kickboxing style, it's very Dutch. He loves those body kicks, loves to slam his shin into your limbs. He loves the leg kicks, loves the body kicks. He doesn't throw too many head kicks. Where he does actually strive in his striking is actually his clinch position. He actually does enjoy to utilize the over-under position and utilize those knees to the body and to the leg. It's how he gave Brock Lesnar a lot of problems. It's how he gave Mark Hunt a lot of problems, So he's given a lot of guys a lot of problems with those devastating knees in the clinch. From a distance, he does like to keep his hands down a little bit. He does keep his hands a little bit closer to his chest and his elbows to his hips. But he does try to utilize some pretty the type of hands down distance when it comes to his striking. He likes to keep distance, and when he does keep distance, he does have his hands down sometimes. That's not necessarily the most efficient way to fight, especially when it comes to heavyweights. These guys throw heavy heat, and they land with a lot of power. You see with Jairzinho Rozenstruik, he's very heavy-handed. He actually moves pretty well for a heavyweight. He's very light on his feet. I know it doesn't look it with the bombs that he swings, but every shot that he lands is with devastation. He is primarily a puncher, and he would probably do him well to get this fight in punching range so that he could do some damage against Overeem, because Overeem does his best work at distance or all the way in close and clinching range. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. But Alistair Overeem will probably try to be all the way in or all the way out. You will probably see him try and utilize a lot of kicks from distance, utilize a lot of straight punches from distance. He does try and use the kind of the trick kicks, the fancy kicks like the switch kicks, the jumping switch kicks, the jumping front switch kick. He does like to switch stances every now and again, but he won't switch stances deliberately to actually stay in southpaw. He is primarily an orthodox fighter. But Jairzinho Rozenstruik, he's got his work cut out for him, because he is fighting a veteran in Alistair Overeem. So Alistair Overeem is on a 2-fight winning streak, and it would actually do his career some good to get a win over Jairzinho Rozenstruik, and it would also do Rozenstruik some good to get a name like Overeem under your belt. So to have a K1, a former K1, a former Dream, and a former Strikeforce Grand Prix champion under your belt, that'd be a very nice feather in your cap. What's going on, everybody? So to kind of piggyback off of the ESPN Plus card that we just talked about, we're also going to go into the Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Anthony Joshua rematch, very highly anticipated rematch. Their first fight actually took place in Madison Square Garden, where Andy Ruiz Jr. got the upset win with a seventh round knockout. Now, going into that fight, after the bout was over, you actually heard tell of a lot of problems coming out of Anthony Joshua's training camp. Apparently, he had gotten knocked out in training camp very bad. Of course, going into that bout, he had a change in opponent because he was actually supposed to fight a person by the name of Big Baby Miller, but Big Baby Miller had unfortunately tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. So the late replacement was Andy Ruiz Jr., and he came in there and upset and shocked the world. That bout will be taking place this weekend in Saudi Arabia on the DAZN app. So if you have a smartphone or a computer or a tablet and you want to tune in and watch some boxing fights, go ahead and watch, get the DAZN app and go ahead and tune in to Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Anthony Joshua. Now, when it comes to Anthony Joshua, a lot of people had speculated that he wasn't mentally right going into that bout with Andy Ruiz Jr., whereas Andy Ruiz Jr. had unfortunately come up short with his title bout against Joseph Parker, and it was kind of on the back end and didn't necessarily avert the attention of heavyweight boxing fans. So when the night came and for him to kind of step up to the plate and rise to the occasion, he did it. Now, when you look at his body, he's not the most physically imposing man. He's a short, kind of stocky, kind of a chubby man. But if you look at his amateur record, he's got a vast amount of experience. When it comes to his professional boxing record, he only has that one loss to Joseph Parker, and that was actually a fight that you could argue that he won, Andrew Ruiz won. So to kind of get a subliminal second chance against somebody like Anthony Joshua, somebody who's being talked about as one of the greater heavyweights, at least of this generation, when you talk about guys like Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua very much belongs up there with those three guys. But now, when you look at guys like Andrew Ruiz Jr., you can't say that he doesn't belong up there with the guys of our generation because he defeated Anthony Joshua. And that is kind of the point of this bout, is kind of see if there wasn't a fluke, to see if the first one wasn't a fluke. It is very much up to Andy Ruiz Jr. to take on the hulking man that is Anthony Joshua. Because when you look at Anthony Joshua is a huge man. He's a big man. He's just cut and riddled with muscles. He looks like an action figure. He looks like a straight-up action figure. He's a gold medalist in the Olympics for Great Britain. He talks very well. He's a very marketable heavyweight. Not to say that Andrew Ruiz Jr. isn't, but when you look at kind of the model for being able to market a fighter, it's usually chiseled abs and having the ability to talk to the media, to talk to a camera. So with all that aside, Andy Ruiz Jr. basically went in there and took it to Anthony Joshua in the first fight. Now in this rematch, a lot of people are speculating that Anthony Joshua's significant weight loss will play a factor in the bout between them and Andy Ruiz. I don't think it will. Personally, it doesn't look as if Anthony Joshua's lost a lot of muscle. He still looks chiseled up. And if he does look a little bit smaller, that might be because he might try and play the distance game with somebody who is short and stocky, was able to knock him out and have success against him in the pocket. So with somebody like Anthony Joshua, he's very light on his feet. He doesn't like to move forward too much, but he does find himself in these wars, these unnecessary wars every now and again. And you saw that in his fight with Povetkin. He was in that nasty lead left hook range, and Povetkin just laid it on him and rocked Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua came back and won that fight, but that was a very close call. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of the Total Fight Mike. Please share, like, and subscribe. I want to thank Patrick, my editor, Patrick Loznicki at Loznicki Productions. I want to thank the entire team at Total Fight Challenge Productions, and I will see you guys in the sequel. Don't forget, January 25th for 2020, that will be a Saturday. Total Fight Challenge will have their events at the Cicero Stadium in Cicero, Illinois. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the sequel. Peace.